you've mastered a very unique skill of talking about business and investing and all these sorts of things in sort of a unique angle. How would you describe your angle on, all of the related content you do?
Yeah, so broadly, it's business parity. When I first started consuming media online, I was kind of into a lot of the gurus as a lot of kind of novice aspiring business people are. I would study. I would watch Grant Cardone and Ty Lopez and all those people. And there's definitely some lessons to be learned from them, but I also came to realize after a few years that a lot of those people are kind of become parodies of themselves. Like they, are obviously very outlandish. They do things for attention. And I thought, I could parody these people pretty well. I know um, how they write, how they operate. Um, I've always enjoyed writing satirical things, but there never really was a way for me to make money off of it until I got into the business niche of making parody accounts, which I started doing in early 2020, where I started the John W. Rich parody account. The idea was that it was just a old kind of clueless businessman who fails his way to the top, or is way past his prime, but just keeps making millions of dollars, even though he doesn't understand anything that's going on. So yeah, I think that actually it was a good time to start because in 2020 and 2021 there was a lot of really crazy events going on in the stock market and financial markets. So there was a lot of really great things to parody. Like there was electric vehicle companies that were worth $20 billion and their revenue was $30,000. There
Yep.
was, all sorts of crazy examples of things like that were I kind of entered the market at the perfect time to grow that account.
Yeah, the market gave you a lot of material. And then how did you turn, those sort of business parody personality accounts into a real business? What was that transition like?
Yeah, so it took several months to figure out what the business would be. I started growing the account. It was doing really well, and then I thought, okay, how can I actually make some money off this? Um, it was difficult at first because I tried um, the typical avenues I knew of, which was starting a website and posting longer form pieces and maybe making money from advertising. I did that. I actually my second piece that I published there did extremely well. And I think it got like 190,000 page views or something within a couple days, which is, great for a new website. And I had set up all these monetization strategies and ended up making like a few bucks from that article. And I kind of thought, okay, I could keep building this, but it's probably not the way to go, at least for me, because I'm going to need tens of millions of views to actually make any money. Um, so I, tried selling some merch, realized that does okay. It makes some money, but not really much. Um, what I realized the real money maker was I had a few people reach out and say, "Hey, would you help me with my content?" And these were actual businesses looking for someone to write their stuff. So one of my first gigs was actually for a company that was trying to start a satirical finance um, publication. So they basically called it the Onion of Finance, and it was called Hard Money. So they paid me to write content. Um, I worked with them for like a year and a half. There's not a ton of money in the satire stuff, so I eventually realized the way to really make money was start an agency, work with CEOs and founders who wanted to actually build an audience for their business.
And that's not
Um,
satire.
not satire. I mean, maybe they wanted to incorporate some humor, but it wasn't satire. It was maybe a couple memes. They obviously they hired me because they liked my parody accounts, and the parody accounts gave me access to this huge audience I wouldn't have otherwise had. Um, but yeah, most of these people that hired me, they wanted their actual thoughts out there. They wanted to build an audience of potential customers or potential investors. And yeah, maybe they wanted me to help with a little bit of humor. But in general, the parody accounts, especially when they're satirical, they don't make money. It's very hard to make money from satire because then people don't know when you're joking and when you're not. So if you're always posting something satirical and then 1 out of 20 posts is an ad, people will assume that the ad is a joke somehow. So at least with there's definitely ways to make money with humorous content. So I think meme pages can still make money, but it's obvious when something is a joke versus when it's not, if that makes sense. I think satire is a little more like you're trying to trick someone into thinking it's real. So that's actually how I grew the John Rich account a lot in the beginning, was that I would post some outrageous take and half the people thought it was a genuine take and half the people thought it was a joke, and the engagement would go through the roof because all these people are arguing in the comments. Or people who, weren't in on the joke would get all mad at my character for posting something outrageous. Um, but at least with a meme page, if something's a meme, it's a joke. It's not someone trying to present a satirical, news story and pass it off as real.